Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Prestige Auctions. It's podcast, all things auction, the podcast, of course, where me and Chris just talk about anything relating to do with Prestige Auctions, anybody else's auctions, buying, selling, flipping, side hustling, you name it, vinting, eBaying, Facebooking, you name it. We're going to talk about it. And why do we talk about it? Well, because we're an auction house and all of these things affect our business in one way or another, whether it be a buyer, a seller, or anything else. And, well, Chris, how was last week's auction for you?
One of the best I've had, purchasing wise.
There was so much interesting stuff at Prestige last week. We've been back 2 weeks. First week, just a bit dull, normal sort of day-to-day stuff. Then this week, boom, all of this magnificent stuff.
See my Picasso outside?
No, is it sort of on its axles or something?
It looks like it's had a lowering job on it.
Really?
It's like, sat like that.
I just couldn't help but laugh. I mean, the thing is, what I found quite interesting was Saturday's auction was there was so much industrial type stuff, sort of tools and things, that not many people really understood what they were.
No.
And I think that's always the case when that's where somebody you can prosper, because you understand this industrial type machinery and tools and stuff. There was another young lad bought loads of like industrial dehumidifiers.
Yeah.
Looked like a company, maybe
like ex-hire sort of gear, didn't it?
Yeah, I think anyone where they've had a fire or a flood, even where they're drying the place out, drying plaster and all sorts of stuff. That it was that kind of gear.
Great buys.
Cheap as.
Yeah.
Guy was well chuffed.
One of the best tool buying weeks I think there's ever been.
I think you bought some nice stuff, didn't you?
I did, and we don't even know if it's complete. It's, there's that much stuff in pieces, in bits and bobs.
Well, and I think that's the other thing as well, and this is a big tip for everybody that's coming to the auctions, that sometimes when things are dismantled, that's when you get them at the cheapest prices.
Perfect.
Because, let's face it, most people can't be bothered. So they'll look at something, it's in bits, we don't really know if it's right or not. We ain't got a clue. In fact, even the person it's come from might not even have a clue if it's right or not. So they just say, well, send it to the auction, see what happens. It makes a few quid. They've got rid of it off their hands. You've bought it for a few quid. You're going to go away and build it and hopefully turn a few pounds into a few £100, maybe.
It doesn't matter. This is the thing, it doesn't matter if it's not complete.
No.
A lot of people just have a massive nosebleed and like stress out about it.
Yeah.
If it's not complete, it's just 10 pieces of spares.
Yeah, and this is the thing. We used to have a guy coming here who hardly comes in here anymore, which it seems really strange to me. But as I know, he goes to the other one down the road, and he used to buy mobility scooters.
Yeah.
But he never ever, he didn't care if they worked or not. He used to strip them for parts. And
I've done the same.
like he said, that's how he made his money, selling the parts, not selling the
As
whole
a complete
thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing didn't work out for him.
It's better if they come through the auction and they ain't got the batteries.
Yeah.
Because it scares everybody off. And you've got basically a dead mobility scooter, which is still worth 200 quid in parts.
See how many's in here this week?
Yeah.
Like four mobility scooters, is there?
There's like a village full.
It's it looks like it looks like the car park outside the post office on a Friday, doesn't it? Really, and there's walkers and mobility scooters and things.
The car park at Ulmerston Post Office. It started off not needing any mobility equipment. By the time you got served, you needed a wheelchair.
You just took the words out of my mouth there, because I was like planning on something like that, thinking Humberston Post Office, as much as the people are really friendly in there and nice, my God, it's just never. You just honestly, you need to take yourself something in with you to sit on there while you're waiting to get to the front of the queue.
Saw some crocheting or something.
It's the only post office I know where they put a fantastic new post office in the local spare shop. And 9 times out of 10, there's only one person on, and you just can't get served, and the queue's always dead long. I mean, well, so let's only put one member of staff in a post office where the average age in the area is probably 70. Do you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense.
You know them free books down near the front?
Yeah.
I've read all them.
So the auction last week was pretty damn good. Do you know what really got me? As the auctioneer, when you have an auction like that, you get twice as many bids. And when you've got twice as many bids, you've got to talk twice as much.
Yeah.
I was really, come the end of the day on Saturday, I was starting to struggle. I could feel it on my throat. And you're thinking, because you're having to talk that much, you know, we sort of our aim, you know, because we have notes on our books and that about where our targets need to be and that. And we need to hit 160 lots an hour. But, of course, really, we need to hit more than 160 lots an hour to get finished earlier than 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you know, we try and get it up to sort of 200 lots an hour. But when you've got loads of bids, that's really, really hard. I mean,
when something takes off.
Yeah, we was behind the first 3 hours, I think, in the sale. It was only when we started hitting the box rooms and the sort of the lower value stuff that we started getting in front. But you know what I really liked about last week's auction was the people. Everybody that came to the auction last week, all the people that came to viewing, everyone was friendly, everyone wanted to talk. Everyone was having a chat. People were talking to each other. That proper community feel was there. And Saturday's auction was a good laugh.
It was, yeah. There's a lot of banter in it.
A lot of banter. Yeah. I mean, we had Lord David. Was his 79th birthday this week. He's nearly as old as Pete. I don't know how old Pete is.
No, I don't.
Anyway, listen, everybody. Just before we go any further with this. I want you to just have a quick look at this video. Why is there a body bag on the floor at Prestige Auctions? Anyone got any ideas? Oh, it's alive! It's Mitchell!
Having a rest.
What the hell was you doing in a body bag?
Just trying it out.
Why?
You never know, do you? I mean, I don't want to get to that point and then get like claustrophobic.
We've always stated at Prestige Auctions that we'll have a go at selling anything. But even I was a little bit mouth open today when somebody walked through the door with a box of brand new body bags.
What, any used ones, would you?
Well, no, but there's not much shocks me anymore. You know,
What'll shock you is who buys a box of body bags.
I'd buy them.
Would you?
Yeah, because they're so different. Who else is selling body bags at Emswell?
Let's get towards the right end of the market.
Honestly, I mean, you know, you go from green tweed coat and hat to body bag. I just was really like, there's a box of body bags.
Do you think they're good for growing tomatoes in?
They could be good for that. You could fill them out with compost. Could be all right. And then once you need to get rid of them, you've got handles on the side to just move them away. I was just like really quite shocked that it came in. But you know what? We've sold adult toys. We've sold magazines. We've sold anything that you can buy legally in this country in this auction.
Pretty much.
So why would we not sell a box of body bags? Probably more interestingly is how did somebody end up with a box of body bags?
I'll take them off your hands.
Yeah, how did that happen? I mean, I've never seen any in a clearance before like that.
No.
But so we'll give it a go. But of course, was it a bit hot in there? Was it?
It was. I got hot real quick.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's one of those things. So you know, we'll see how they go in tomorrow's auction.
But we've had body parts, haven't we?
Well, not real ones.
No.
We've had mechanical hands.
Yeah.
We had a leg last week.
Yeah.
We have all sorts, don't we? And you know, we've had it's just. Oh, we've had a box of hip joints, didn't we?
Yeah.
We've had a box of teeth.
All the teeth.
All the things that can get left in house clearance. And as I go round the county, or the counties now as it is, where we sort of go out and do quotes, I know you've come on a few quotes with me. And most people that you meet when you go and do quotes for house clearances, especially that are dealing with a deceased estate and that most of them are quite philosophical. Oh, it's all got to go. It's all got to go. But we don't know what there is, and you just find absolutely all sorts, don't you?
Yeah. I think they reach a point when all the kind of like sentimental stuff has left the house.
I've got a question for you. So let's forget the sentimental stuff. Let's forget the jewellery. Let's forget the washing machines. Let's forget all the other stuff that we sell at Prestige Auctions, because I can tell you now, The bit I'm going to talk about with you now, Lisa has a real problem with. When you go to a house clearance and you open those kitchen cupboards, you've got tins of soup, tins of beans, OXO cubes. Not everybody empties all this stuff. A lot of the time when we get called in by solicitors and so on, it's just there and it needs clearing. Now, there has been some occasions where we've sold items of food because there's maybe 50 tins of beans or whatever. And we actually, before I talk about what Lisa thinks, we actually got really slagged off once as an auction room because we were selling crates of food. And somebody turned around to us and said, quite nastily on Facebook, saying, "You're out of order, profiteering off food when you could be giving that to the food banks."
That, yeah.
What that person didn't know before they gave us their woke opinion was that the family said, "We want all that selling." So when people jump on the bandwagon like that and start going, "Oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that," they don't know the circumstances. That family might not have been able to afford to pay for a funeral.
Yeah.
They might try and be getting together every bit of money that they could because there was no money in the estate.
Well, we're under instruction from everybody. We're not making them decisions to do it.
We have to sell. We are a house clearance to auction business. Two separate businesses, but one feeds the other.
And if we don't do that, if it doesn't come through and somebody's expected to come through, they'll be asking questions of why you haven't done it.
Yeah, we're going to come to a subject today. I'm leading up to this subject. You don't know anything about it. You never know what I'm going to talk about. I
got a clue.
And so years ago, when I was doing house clearance, we weren't an auction room, and I opened this cupboard. We'd got the keys to the house. We had to clear everything had to go, and there's all these tins of beans and things like that. And I took a big box full of food home. There was like Heinz soup and beans and stewing steak and everything. And Lisa just looked at me. She went, "I don't want it. I don't want it. It's not having house clearance. These are all sealed cans." And she still won't to this day. Where are you at with it?
Well, you can't get dead people inside cans, can you? Magically, it's the same thing.
Ultimately, you'll have, when you're dealing with deceased estates and things, it is tricky, but everything needs to be solved. Everyone's got to deal with these things one way or another, and that's where we come in and do our job professionally. But people will quite easily buy, and Lisa will buy, settees and washing machines and stuff like that. But Lisa's fact on it is food's personal. They bought that for themselves to eat. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Leave a comment and let us know. Is it something that you could do? We're not talking about open packets here. We're talking about
sealed things,
tins. We sell alcohol. Look all the alcohol we sell.
You don't waste that, do you?
No, don't you? Well, you don't. So where are you at with it?
Well, isn't it the same if you're going to get something out of a mini bar out of your fridge in an hotel or a packet of crisps? That's been put there by somebody else. That could have been a deceased estate's bag of crisps bought by an hotel, then put into the...
You really just don't know. But it is mind over matter.
Yeah.
It really is, because...
If you don't know...
Shh, don't tell Lisa, right? But on the odd occasion when she said that, I used to sneak tins into the cupboard. If we had Heinz beans in, I chuck a couple of tins in.
She's going to kill you.
She never knew. She always ate them.
She'll kill you now.
Well, she'll never find out. Who's going to tell her?
You'll have an Heinz beans tin-shaped dent in your head this time next week.
Oh, dear. Listen, a couple of other things to go on about. Listen, everybody, we are looking for some guests to come on to the podcast. So if anyone fancies coming onto the podcast, we've had a few guests on in the past. There's somebody I'm going to be trying to get on here soon as well. So I'm going to be asking a few people if they want to come on. But if you do want to come onto the podcast, if you've got a local business or anything that you just want to talk about, want to promote, if you're a local historian, whatever, we just want to chat with people in and around the local area. Just make it a little bit more interesting. What was you going to say?
I've forgotten now.
I forgot. I knew it wouldn't take much.
No, it was something to do with...
I'll tell you why Chris can't remember anything, shall I? Right, so on Saturday night, right, We
bloody
went.
water.
We went along with quite a few members of the team as well that went.
Yeah.
We went to Yardbirds in Grimsby. Big shout out to Yardbirds. It was a fantastic night. They had an Erasure tribute band on called Erasure, and I'm a big Erasure fan, I must say. I always have been. But what was really scary was when the guy's on stage there, he goes, this one was brought out by Erasure 40 years ago. I was like, no, it can't have been 40 years ago.
Not right, is it?
Where
did it go?
Yeah, it's really like, oh my God, is it really? But Yardbirds, Saturday night, because we didn't get finished work till late, did we? And
No.
you were sort of out the door.
5:30, 6 o'clock, and then we were there for 7:30ish.
Yeah, and had a great night. You had 1 or 2 drinks, didn't you?
A couple.
A couple of dozen?
Ish.
Do you know what I will say about Yardbirds? I mean, as always, Yardbirds put a fantastic night on. We've never had a bad night there yet.
No.
Always a great place to visit if you are fancying a night out in Grimsby. But what really amazed me is normally when the acts finish there, because they've got a big stage set up and that, haven't they? Normally when the acts finished, everyone's hot-footing it out the door.
Yeah, as soon as they...
People weren't really moving, were they?
No, we were there till 12:30, 1:45-ish. It was still like a third full, really, even at that point.
Everyone was just having such a great time, weren't they? Really, really enjoying themselves. And so, big shout out once again, as always, from Prestige Auctions to Yardbirds in Grimsby. If you are looking for a venue to go and have a really good night, go on their Facebook page, have a look, and see what they're doing, because they do so. The acts that they get on there are absolutely fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah,
they don't just have bog standard tribute acts. They get the best, don't they?
Tickets aren't expensive.
No, I mean, just giving a shout out again for Yardbirds. You can buy tickets from Yardbirds direct, but you can also buy them from Replay Records down Freeman Street as well with Scott. And just get yourselves down there. Great night.
Wouldn't risk going to pay on the door.
No, because I mean the thing is, because a lot of their stuff is really good, it sells out a lot, doesn't it? So how was your Sunday morning then?
Bit delicate Sunday morning.
Was it really? I did see you, didn't I? You weren't in a great place. Can I just point out that I did the adult thing on Saturday night?
You did.
And knowing that I was at work on Sunday morning, I said to Lisa, I went, if you have a drink tonight, love, I'll drive. And I drove. And didn't have a drink.
And you were fine on Sunday morning.
And I wasn't fine. Me and Lisa went to the kebab house after we'd finished at Yardbirds, and I've got this box of chips. And I said to the guy, can you put chili and garlic on? And all I can say is that he turned it into a chili and garlic swimming pool with lots of chips in it.
Oh, I love that.
By the time we got home, it kind of melted into each other, and it was just... Oh.
Well, I was aiming to get to the kebab shop, come out of there, fresh air hit me. Then I got in the car with Kim. She's a pretty erratic driver, so I got all like jumbled up driving back. Didn't really feel like a kebab by the time I got to Cleethorpes. Just managed to get into the caravan. And then I had a little sickie.
Oh, you weren't not well.
It was only a little one.
The thing is, mate, you how can I put it? Right, so so most people that drink, Chris, they kind of look at... Imagine this table was a track, yeah?
Right.
Most people that go out and drink, they sort of start there and they look at the whole track and think, I've got to go all the way round, yeah? So they think, right, I'll have a drink there, then I'll have a drink there, then another one there, and another one there. You only ever do the 100-metre sprint? Every 5 metres, it's another drink or another double. No. And it's like boom, 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 boom. So by the time everyone's still drinking their way around the track, you've drank your quota.
I know.
In sort of Usain Bolt time.
It happened like that on Saturday. I don't know how... I mean, I lost count, but normally I like to start... For a night like that, I normally... 10 o'clock in the morning's about the right sort of time to... steadily enjoy yourself.
10 o'clock in the morning is the right time to start. Well, you have issues.
I don't like to be in there at 9:30 at Spoons, but
Oh, why? Because you feel that's too early.
I like to have an orange juice up to about 9:30, but I'm normally in there, and all them people are in there at 9:30 while having my breakfast, and they're getting that first pint in, and I just can't do that pre-10 o'clock drink. It's got to be after.
I have a 6 o'clock thing set in my head. Right, so I get home on a night time now, because you, as human beings, we develop habits, don't we? Not alcohol dependency, but habits where you sort of get home and say, oh, 6 o'clock, it's gone 6, I'll have a beer. I'll have a beer, get the tea on, all the rest of it. Chill out a bit. So because your habits get implanted into your head, I kind of go home sometimes, and if we finish work early, say 4 o'clock, and I get home and I'm thinking, oh, I'll have a beer. But then I look at the clock and go, no, Carl, it's not 6 o'clock. And of course, some people would go, well, it's 6 o'clock somewhere and all the rest of it. But no, I am quite firm with that. I don't like drinking. I've never, ever liked drinking in the day.
No, I
never.
much prefer it.
Since I was a young guy, when I was a lot younger, I did a few of the all-dayers and that. And if I started drinking on a dinner time, I was home by 6 o'clock.
See, we've moved now to that point where we're kind of like, we will sort of like start going out about 12 o'clock, midday-ish.
Yeah.
Especially if you go to Hull. Midday in Hull, it's kicking off, it's brilliant, a good atmosphere. And you can do that all through the day, through the afternoon. And we kind of like call it a day about 9 o'clock, because then the idiots come out after 9
Yeah,
o'clock.
I mean, there is that, I must say. But
so I like, but I still managed to load in 2 loads of stuff into the car before 10 o'clock in the morning.
What, on Sunday?
On Sunday.
But you want good. I showed you a bottle of vodka and you had to turn your head.
But you know what I did at 10:30?
Go on.
I went swimming.
You went swimming?
In tropical pool. And it was like being in Ibiza.
Do you know what? All I can think of is the In-Betweeners film when he starts throwing up in the pool. Have you seen that one? Can you imagine all the kids as Chris is there, spewing on her?
No,
oh my God.
It was brilliant. It fetched me straight back round. I felt 100% after coming out of that pool.
There's a couple more things we need to talk about, and I know we're on a bit of a time thing today, but I don't think it would be right. Now, my brother said to me this week, he said, Carl, do you? He says some criticism for you. He says a little bit of criticism. He says, which I don't take well. He went, when you do your podcast and that, he said, you sort of go onto a podcast to talk about a subject and that. He says, and you sort of go off on some tangents. And he said, you sort of go all over the place. He said, you should be talking about auctions and stuff like that. But like I said, we talk about things that affect the auctions or things around the auction. So we went out on Saturday night, so it was a bit of a staff thing. There's plenty of members of staff and that there.
There were people from the auction there. It was a good chat with people. Yeah,
Chris got drunk, so that was to do with the auction in a way. So we do talk about things, we do talk about auctions. We're going to be talking about that very soon, actually. But I don't think, because we like to touch on a bit of politics, don't we? And I think everyone needs to remember that, mind you, when is the mayoral elections?
Isn't it the 1st of May? Isn't it Thursday?
Is it this Thursday? This will have already gone out. This will go out on Friday night.
I've got a feeling it's the 1st of May.
And yeah, I probably need to put something on Facebook then. Let's get the word out there. And all I'm going to say is just remember this. I've been seeing all these things on TikTok about Jason for mayor. All it says, let's not forget, even though it's only in tiny, tiny little bit in the corner, Jason is Labour. Yeah, Jason is Labour. That's what I keep reminding everybody of.
Battering he's been getting on his posts.
No.
It's staggering. If there's 500 comments on that post, I would say 450 of them are negative.
Yeah.
It's going to be a right battle for him to get anything out of these elections.
Well,
mayors, you're tired with the brush. You've had it.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah, well, maybe they should have just...
Why do you need to have a political mayor?
Yeah.
Why does it even... Because it says on the voting form, like, the political affiliation. Why do you even need to have that?
Well, who knows? But yeah, I can't really talk about it. I was going to do a bit of a thing on it, but I can't because this is going out after that's been done. Let's just hope that people have voted the right way and that we haven't got a Labour mayor anyway.
Could be a big start of the backbenchers giving him a bit of a kick in this.
Yeah,
The outcome of this.
It'd be nice to see certain. I don't want to go too political because you always get hammered whichever way you go if you're a business. But all I can say is that's quite a nice colour. Anyway, anyway, moving on. Today's subject.
I'm detoxing.
Detox. What is that? Is that water or vodka?
White Rock. What the hell is it?
Yeah, it's vodka.
No, it's refreshing, still spring water.
Oh my God! Was it made by the Trotters? Anyway,
I've got to do it.
I want to talk about something today because it's something that I feel quite passionately about. I don't know how you're going to feel about it. I don't know how other people are going to feel about it. But I've got this thing where somebody came to me the other day and said about another company that's advertising online locally. I'm not going to go into names. Somebody else that's advertising locally who are advertising themselves in their advert as auctioneers when they're not actually auctioneers. Mm-hmm. And I've got this thing about auction. Anyone that's an auctioneer, if you are an auctioneer, that here's the question: should auction rooms buy things off people to sell for themselves? What I mean by that, I don't mean once it's into the auction. Anyone can buy it once it's into the auction. Mm. But I have this thing, and this is where I stand with it. You are either an auctioneer or a second-hand dealer. Mm-hmm. And whichever way you look at second-hand dealer as antiques dealer, vintage dealer, you're still a second-hand dealer. Or you come under the same licensing by the council for buy-in and all the rest of it. You're classed as a second-hand dealer. But I know of some auction rooms, and I don't care if other auction rooms come in here and slag me off for this, because I feel very strongly about it, that have got into the realms of buying off people. Now, if you advertise yourself as an auctioneer, you should be, in my opinion, be getting people's items for them and selling them for them on their behalf. At what point are you just an auctioneer if you are buying them items off them?
You're just a reseller.
Do you think it's right that other well, first and foremost, that people should advertise themselves as auctioneers if they're not? I think there's a little bit of a dodgy ground in advertising standards and that in there. Do you think people, if you are a registered auction room, or not a registered auction room, but an auction business, should you be going into them house clearances and saying to the person, well, I'll tell you what, I could buy it all off you and then I'll go and sell it for myself? I feel quite strongly about this because I just think, well, how is that right for the family?
It affects everything in the auction though, doesn't it? Because if the auction's bought something, then somebody will walk through the door with the same item to sell. The auction's going to promote the one that they've bought and hold the one back. Mm-hmm. A private's brought in.
Yeah.
So not only are you acting in your own interest, you'll also be holding back somebody else's. So you can't do it.
And there is some questions there around as well. If somebody leaves their commission bids with you,
yeah,
and you are the owner of all the items in the auction, they've left £100. Are you going in at a £5? Probably not.
No.
Because you're seeing pound signs.
It changes the whole auction.
Well, I know that another auction room. I know of at least one other auction room that has done this. I don't know if they're still doing it, but they were doing it, and they were buying things from house clearance and then selling it in the auction. And I don't know why I feel quite strongly about this, but I just think, when I go and promote Prestige as a business, and I go in somebody's house and they say, well, well, we don't really know. We've never done this before, which most people haven't. What do we need to do? I said, well, we need to assess what we've got in front of us, work out how much it's going to cost to clear it. Then we want to get as much of that money back as we can for you through the auction, and hopefully tip the balance and come out the other end and pay the estate or you some money. Which people seem to love that, and which is probably one of the reasons why we're so busy as a business, because we're not just going in and charging people. So the point I'm getting to is if you're advertising yourself as an auctioneer, even if you're not, why are the people not asking the question, well, hang on, it says in your advert that auctioneer, so why are you trying to buy the items off me?
It should be clear to auction, shouldn't it?
Yeah, if you're an auctioneer, then you should be selling on behalf of. And the thing with auctions, as the auctioneer, you don't ever own the item.
Yeah.
The striking of the gavel, the passing of the trade, one person to another upon money spent, and so on, is all part of the makeup of the auction law and all the rest of it. So, but I mean, don't get me wrong. Since we've been Prestige Auctions, I think I've probably bought 2 house clearances. So you're now maybe thinking to yourself, well, hang on, he's just said he wouldn't do that. The only time I will ever do that is if they are insistent. That is the only way they want to go. And I've had it happen twice, where I went to one house and the guy went to me, as I explained all the auction process, he said, listen, I just want to sell it all. I went, so it's not something we do. And he was literally like, well, I can't do any business with you then. I said, well, look,
rather do it or lose it.
Yeah, it was a case of, he wanted a few £100 for everything. We did the whole clearance and we did get everything. As it goes, it probably worked out about the same as it would have done. But where do you stand if you're going to do a house clearance for somebody, and as an auction room this is, and then you buy the stuff, you talk them into, let's buy the items off them. Well, and you give them £500 and clear the whole property, and then a few weeks down the line you're selling that stuff in your auction room, and a member of that family sees you sell something at a lot of money. What's that going to do to your business? It's going to destroy your business, because the way social media and that works these days is everyone's going to be out there going, they did this, they did that, they did the other.
Well, people are much quicker to criticise than they are to praise, aren't they? And we're into that thing again, especially in this area. It's still a small area.
Yeah,
it's still an area where a lot of people know each other.
I just find that the whole thing wrong. I think when we advertise ourselves as a business, and there are certain laws around what you can and can't say in your advertising. You've got to be truthful. So that then puts a cloud over things. Over if you're misadvertising your business, you're not allowed to misadvertise.
The other thing is, you need that transparency, which is what we have.
Yeah.
With the basically, like with showing how it works behind the scenes, showing the sneak peek, categorising every single item which goes through every week, all 1,400 pictures on Facebook, to the commissions, the way people do the commissions, everything's transparent.
And occasionally admitting when we get it wrong.
Yeah, well, you're going to do with 1,400 items a week.
Yeah.
You can't do that without something happening.
We had a chap come in the auction last week. I'm not sure if he was in the office when he came in. He was saying, I don't understand this. I put this, and this in the auction, and I can't see it on my list. And I tried to explain to this gentleman, well, maybe if there was low value, they would have just been split and put into other boxes in with your stuff, because it wouldn't warrant being on its own.
Yeah, trying to save you something.
And he turned around and said, well, there was a fishing reel in there that I paid £20 for. That's not an expensive item when it comes to auction. A £200 fishing reel might sell on its own, but another one will just get chucked in a box. And we try to be as transparent as we can with everybody. But I just get a feeling that from what I'm seeing in other people's advertising, there's people out there at this moment in time that are not being transparent. And ultimately, they are leaving themselves wide open to be sued.
Well, it'll catch up, won't it?
Yeah, they're leaving themselves wide open to be sued, because when you look at sort of different test cases and that out there, a lot of the times that people sue you is on the back of, well, you said. and I've got it. I've screenshotted it, whatever you said. So then you've got to try and put it right, but without damaging, ruining your own reputation. But I get this, and another customer was talking to me about it, and they said, that they'd been to an auction room that they knew that all they did was buy stuff. And I'm thinking, I don't know how you can call yourself an auction room if you're buying stuff and then selling it under the hammer.
Yeah, well, sometimes they won't sell it because it's not made enough.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a killer. That is one surefire way to start losing bidders' interest into if you keep running to a certain amount and then not selling it.
Here's one that gets me, and I've seen this with one or two auctioneers in the past because I watch a lot of online auctions. I am quite sad. I am sort of Bossman's holiday, where you're trying to sell an item, and you'll be selling it in an online auction. I know they're online because I only listen to them online.
Yeah.
And they'll go. They'll start off at 10 quid, and at 50 quid, they say it's not enough.
Yeah, it's wasted everybody's time.
So I'm thinking to myself, well, if 50 quid's not enough, why did you start at a tenner? Why didn't I mean? I do this. I mean, some auctioneers do believe strongly in trying to take the bid somewhere.
Yeah.
I can't see the point to myself. If somebody has put a £50 reserve on something,
yeah,
if they've got £50, that's my reserve. You are either going to pay it or you aren't.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I don't want to waste my time or anybody else's time trying to run to a bid that you're not allowed to sell it at.
And they'll ask as well when they're leaving commissions, won't they?
Yeah.
There's no point somebody coming here for waiting for lot number 500, so they've wasted 5 hours on a Saturday just to sit there to be told that's the starting price.
Yeah.
A lot of people will, if there's reserves on things, a lot of people will ask.
And and I think why do I want to waste your time? If you come into this auction room on a Saturday and you've got £50 spend on a 3-piece suite, and you come up to us and say, I'm interested in that suite, is the reserve on it? I've been in other rooms, many other rooms, where I've gone, is there a reserve on that? I go, yeah, how much is it? Can't tell you that.
Yeah.
That's confidential. Well, why is it confidential?
You're not giving anybody's details.
Why is it
out,
confidential? No, you're not giving people's details out. You're not telling them who it belongs to. All you're saying is, if you don't pay 50 quid for it or whatever, you aren't going to be able to buy it. Okay, well, it's £100 reserve on it. Okay, I've only got £50. I'm not going to waste my Saturday sitting here. Move up, move on.
Yeah.
That's that. Why would you have this bloody ridiculous toffee nose attitude of, I can't tell you that's confidential?
Do you know, I think there's something in it within the car industry, within the car auction industry, because that's super secretive. That's full of all sorts of tricks and bouncing bids off walls and sort of like keeping things. Nobody knows who's put it in.
Yeah.
All that's quite mysterious in the car auction world. And not knowing what reserves are is quite a big thing in that, but not in general auctions.
But secrecy to me in this kind of industry is you're up to something that you probably shouldn't be up to, and you've seen that in the car industry, in the car auction
just
industry.
so bent.
Whereas, I mean, I can probably count on one or two hands the amount of reserves we get across an auction each week, because we're house clearance specialists and all the rest of it. So most of the stuff just comes here and it has to be sold. But on the odd occasion that we do get reserves, usually around jewellery and stuff like that, people ask me the question, what's the reserve? I am going to tell them all day long. There is no point not telling them.
No. And some people come in still with ridiculous reserves on things that they've paid too much money for.
Yeah.
They need to sell because nobody will buy it.
Yeah.
But they'll still put a high reserve on it.
I just need to, I just need to, ask your local auction room. Ask your local auction room. Say, the stuff that you're selling in here, is it yours? Or does it come from the States?
Ask questions straight out.
I mean, they could say that, they could hide behind that's confidential, but surely they wouldn't say that. If it wasn't theirs, they would go, no, we'll just do house clearances.
Yeah.
If you jumped on that's confidential, you're not asking whose the stuff is. You're asking it,
Is it yours?
is it yours?
Yeah.
And I just find it quite. And also, the other thing is, and this is going to be a thing this week, because we're actually auctioning off this Saturday some tattooing vouchers for a local charity thing, which I looked into and checked. Because the other thing is, if somebody's got some advertising there and it says we are house clearances, we do this, we do that, and we're auctioneers, yeah. If that advertising says that, then quiz them on it. Where's your auction room? Tell me where your auction room is. Let me come and see one of your auctions. Or when they haven't got one, it's going to bite them. Anyway, the other thing is as well, and I may or may not have mentioned this already in a podcast. I've got a thing about charities. So we've done some stuff for charity at Prestige in the past, because this is about transparency again, which I like. We promote transparency here, as you know. So somebody comes to you as a charity and says, we're doing a bit of a fundraiser. We get loads of emails, all businesses do. We're doing a bit of a fundraiser. I wonder if you could help us out with this, that and the other. Okay, and I send back this simple email now, or I give them this simple statement every time. Yeah, okay, not a problem. What's your name of your charity? What's your registered charity number? And how much do people earn within your organisation from the top down, please? You supply me with all that information. I'll show that to my customers. If they're happy with that, then we'll raise the money for you.
Because there's some big salaries out there, aren't there?
I would say out of 20 people that have asked, none of them have come back to us when we've asked that question.
No, because they've all got massive overheads covering massive...
Because they're paying directors and CEOs and big managers and shop staff and shop managers and van drivers. And I don't know about you, but I've got this thing that if I give £10 charity, I want to think that £10 going to charity.
It doesn't, does it? About £9 of it goes to them.
Yeah.
There's only a quid gets through, isn't there?
There's not much getting to the charities. So, there you are, message to everybody. If you are thinking of wanting to help Prestige to help you with, and we've got nearly 30,000 followers on social media, we can help with things.
We've had a couple recently that we've done for some...
We've done things for sort of local people and that. I mean, we've did the fundraiser ourselves for the DFib and that, which was great.
Did we get something to do with a rabbit in this week?
Yeah, well, that was a customer that was doing that. The customer that put that across. So, there wasn't something that Prestige was doing. So,
because we get a few things like that, don't we?
Yeah,
raising money for other things, put an item into the sale.
I'm happy as long as everything's transparent. Okay. And I showed you something earlier, didn't I? I was talking to you about that thing. When I was out on a quote earlier, I listened to a lot of sort of YouTube and that when I'm in my van. I almost treat it like a podcast. And I was listening to it, and there was a guy on there called Ricky Resells, and he goes around the boot sales filming. There's a lot of them doors. There's Flipping Sloth. There's a few of them these days that do the wear body cameras and that, and people find it quite interesting. What they're buying and selling, and I like that. I like it because it's transparent. They're promoting transparency like we do here. And he goes onto this boot sale somewhere, and the guy that owns the field comes up to him and says, "Are you filming, mate?" And he goes, "Yeah, I am." He says, "Well, this is my land. You're not allowed to film on here." And and he got quite uppity with this seller. And all I could think to myself as a business owner was, and I nearly put it in the comments. I haven't, not yet. I was going to put, "Don't you mean to say, mate? Oh, you're filming on here. Oh, brilliant! Right." This is our boot sale. This is where we are. We're on every Sunday. We get loads of people here, buyers and sellers and all the rest of it. But straight away he goes, "Well, people don't want you filming on here," and all the rest of it. And the Ricky Resells quite rightly then says, "Why? Because they're avoiding tax." Why would you be that bothered when you're in a public area or a publicly accessible area? You're being filmed everywhere these days. Where are you not being filmed?
Yeah, these facial recognition cameras are now in, aren't they? Sometimes
and again, it's only because we've promoted such transparency at Prestige all the way through the auction business that we want to, we think everyone else should be the same. And clearly, Not everyone's going to be. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on all that. Let's have a look at the challenge.
We're back on it now.
Just while you get that, I'm just going to just double check the camera, make sure everything's good. Yeah, we're all good still.
We're back at work now.
So, what's been happening in the challenge this week then, Mr. Mitchell?
Well, we've finally moved out of the house, so we can start doing a bit of work for ourselves now. So we're on 1,370.
1,370 plus stock. Well, that's, I mean, you've got to say that's good.
We did about 60 quid, 60, 70 quid this week. It's kind of restarted everything, but we've got a lot of really good stock.
Yeah, and good stock is always important, isn't it?
It was a massive purchasing week.
It's like you say, I mean, to me, that's I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have that. That's why I've only got that. I wouldn't have that because that is more important than that.
Yeah.
But you've got to have that to get that.
Yeah.
So you've got to have it available.
Yeah.
So you and Jenny are doing extremely well. Of course, we're nearly in May.
Yeah, no, isn't it flying?
So
isn't it?
we've got to start ramping these numbers up.
It's a ticket, isn't it?
It's only one though.
Well, that'd be
Me
mine.
too. So Lisa and Tom, well, plus £3.
But they got stitched up this week, didn't they?
Yeah, they did get stitched up. I mean, by someone.
That could have been so much better.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
No. So they put £3 on.
Someone stirred them up.
Yeah.
Stirred them. Anyway, they've put £3 on. That's good. Carl and Brandon. Well, I can tell you the story here.
410, is it?
£410. Can tell you, Brandon's been busy selling some stuff. Gave me a couple of lumps of cash lately, a 120 and an 80, something like that, I think it was. We spent a few quid at the auction this week, though. And we've got loads of great stock to go on to eBay. We've still got the clock. I've not spent any time promoting that, so I need to do that. So we've got to get rid of the clock. We've still got stuff on eBay through Brandon. And I've just bought him a load of stuff this week, which he needs to get sold. And there's a maybe 200 or 300 quid there.
Yeah.
So £410. I need to get that spent into something different because it's no good. I can't make any money while I've got it in cash, and then move on up. I always said once we get to £500, that's when things will change, and I'm pretty sure
nearly there.
I'm pretty sure they're going to.
That'll be next week then.
So that's that.
It's still good. I've had some quite good things sell on eBay, which had been slow. But Vinted still nosedived.
What's happened to Vinted?
It's just come to an end, proper end.
I mean, I want to say I'm gutted because I sang from the rooftops how great Vinted was, and
we were both shouting.
And until they just tried to completely turn me over.
Yeah.
And what they've done feels exactly like eBay did.
Yeah, when they first started going bad. It's picked up a little bit, but another one of my little tips and tricks I've been doing has resulted in no parcel chargebacks. Every time I send a parcel now, I still put my Cleethorpes Garage Door Repairs on it, just write it in black pen, or just make up a name of a company that sounds boring.
Yeah.
So like nobody thinks there's anything good in it, like dishcloths or model train bits, stuff like that. The one thing I do on it now is I put the weight of the item in grams, written on in marker pen, and then next to it I put JPEG number such and such. So when it hits the every machine, they know that I photographed that item. They know I photographed it with what it weighs, and it stopped them trying to charge me extra for overweight parcels.
Is it really?
100%. So my parcels are not getting nicked because everybody thinks
they're
there's crap inside them.
Well, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I'm not getting any chargebacks for the weight of the item. It stopped it dead.
Wow, that's good. So there you go. Handy tips, everybody.
Put the weight on it. Even if you've not taken a picture of it, just write on it the weight of whatever it is, and then like a reference number for a JPEG number or something. Stopped it dead.
Fantastic tips. And anyway, there you go, everybody. That's the week that was at Prestige Auctions. We've tried to put the world to rights the best we can. Give us your opinions, but what I would really love to know from you lot is what you would like us to talk about. What would you like us to talk about on a week-to-week basis? You can leave a little message in the comments for us there. But of course, the best thing you can do for us is hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and stick that notification bell on to let us know when Prestige Auctions are putting out more content for you, which we're trying to do on a weekly basis now. We are now going to go to the Grimsby Town Player of the Year Awards. I bet you're really looking forward to that.
It's about rugby, isn't it?
Well, the way they've played football this season, maybe. They spent probably more time on the floor than they did kicking the ball in the back of the net. So we're going to go to there tonight and maybe have a couple of ties as well. But of course, you won't see this till Friday anyway. We've got another great week at the auction.
Again.
Do what?
Not out drinking
God,
again.
we're going to have to, aren't we? But we are going to be announcing in the next week or so now, hopefully, news about a load of property or some properties that Prestige Auctions are going to be selling. No, we didn't talk about this.
What is it?
Let's just talk about this just very quickly. So, this is a Graham Farish Bachmann train. So, this here, right, is going to be available. These and a lot of others, Engage, are going to be available in our toy auction, which is going to be online this week. But not only that, we've got all of these model kits in there as well. Tamiya, they're good. But this one, obviously, is yours, Chris.
What the hell's wrong with these people that are grown-ups that are playing around with toys?
Look at that.
Oh, no.
Look at that. Aren't they beautiful? Well, the commission. There you go. They're all going to be coming up in our toy auction, which is going to be on May the 8th.
No tools.
Viewing for it is actually this Friday, so you'll have already missed it.
What do you reckon that would have made?
You what?
What do we reckon that would have made?
Well, it's not going to be sold till the week after. I reckon they're going to make sort of 30 quid each. 20, 30 quid each. I think they're going to make 50 and 60 quid each, and that'll make a winner.
Fred Dibner would be going wild.
Listen, everybody, do stick them comments down there. Let us know what you think about some of the things that we've been talking about. We'll keep you up to date with everything that we can on social media. Until next week, say goodbye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
And we'll see you all again very soon
Bloody water.
at the auction.